Sometimes the hardest truth to accept is that people often judge others within seconds, not based on character, intelligence, or kindness, but on appearance, confidence, silence, or the assumptions they carry within themselves. You may have walked into certain spaces believing you were simply being yourself, unaware that others were already forming opinions before you even spoke. That experience can leave deep emotional marks, especially when you later realize you were misunderstood, underestimated, or unfairly labeled because you did not fit someone else's expectations. But those judgments reveal far more about the people making them than about you. Some individuals become uncomfortable when they encounter someone who carries quiet confidence, independence, or authenticity without seeking approval. Simplicity can be mistaken for weakness. Silence can be mistaken for insecurity. Confidence can be misunderstood as defiance, and people who rely heavily on status, appearances, or assumptions may struggle to recognize depth in someone who does not present themselves in ways they expect. Yet none of those misunderstandings define your worth or identity. The real turning point comes when you stop measuring yourself through the limited perspective of others and begin recognizing your own value clearly. Often, the people who underestimated you are eventually forced to confront the reality that there was far more strength, intelligence, or potential within you than they first believed. That realization can surprise them because it challenges the assumptions they made too quickly. But your growth and success do not need to become a dramatic revelation to prove anyone wrong. They can simply stand as evidence that your identity was never dependent on the opinions of strangers. What truly matters is how you carry yourself, moving forward, with self-respect, awareness, and confidence rooted in who you are, rather than in how others perceive you. The pain of being misjudged can shape you, but it does not have to harden you. Instead, it can teach you empathy, resilience, and the importance of seeing people beyond appearances. In the end, the most powerful response to being underestimated is not revenge or dramatic validation, but quietly becoming everything people failed to see in you from the very beginning. And that's when they whispered that word under their breath, a title, a label, a profession that didn't match your aura, your power, or your destiny. They thought you worked as something ordinary, something low status, something they believed matched the clothes you wore. But they didn't know that those very clothes were not a sign of who you were, but a disguise, a test, a shield. They didn't know someone above them, someone beyond their imagination, someone with real eyes watching real intentions, had placed you there to expose what they hide when no one is looking. You weren't supposed to hear it, but the universe wanted you to. A small laugh slipped from one corner, a judgmental smirk from another, and you took a quiet step back, not realizing that this single step shook the ground beneath their feet, because the moment they misread you, a heavenly archive opened, a truth flashed, something ancient awakened, something that has been waiting for the right moment to reveal who you truly are and why you were sent into that exact place, at that exact time, wearing clothes that would trigger their truest colors. And child, the moment they misjudged you, they unknowingly revealed their deepest insecurities, their inner fears, their hidden guilt. They exposed themselves without speaking a single word. What they don't know, and what you're about to understand, is that you were never underdressed, out of place, or misfit. You were strategically positioned. You were a silent mirror, reflecting their own shadows back at them. They thought you worked as something beneath them, but soon they'll realize you were sent to rise far above them. Every assumption they made will return to them like a boomerang they cannot dodge, and as events begin unfolding, unexpected calls, sudden changes, shocking revelations that disrupt their quiet world, they'll scramble to understand where it all began, and they'll remember your clothes, they'll remember the moment they judged, and they'll remember the quiet figure who walked in, unknowingly carrying a destiny far greater than any label they tried to put on you. Stay with me, because the truth of what they thought you were, and the truth of who you're about to become will collide so loudly that the world around you will not remain the same. My beloved child, something shifted the very second you stepped out of that room, even though you didn't feel it yet. The air around them grew tight, their conversations turned shaky, and their confidence started to crumble in ways they didn't expect, because while they assumed you worked as something small, something insignificant, something that made them feel superior, a message from the universe was already moving toward them like a silent storm. They didn't know eyes bigger than theirs were watching. They didn't know forces stronger than their judgments were aligning. They didn't know the moment they whispered about your clothes, they set in motion a chain of events that would return to them with a power they cannot hide from. And now, without realizing it, they are being observed, evaluated, and exposed in ways they never imagined would happen so soon. Someone in that very room who stayed quiet the entire time was not laughing at you, they were studying you, not your clothes, not your silence, not your simplicity, your energy. They saw something ancient in your presence, something unshakable, something they couldn't explain. They felt a pull toward you, a strange sense that you didn't walk in alone, that something walked in with you. This silent observer has now become your unexpected ally, someone who will speak when the truth demands it, someone who will reveal what really happened behind your back, and soon they will step forward with a message that will silence every voice that mocked you. Stay with me, because what unfolds next is the moment where your story turns in your favor. As the universe prepares to shift the spotlight, your name is being whispered somewhere else, not in judgment this time, but in curiosity, admiration, and quiet concern. Someone important wants to know who you truly are, why you carry such presence without trying, why you look like a mystery wrapped in humility. And child, they will soon discover the truth. You are not someone who works beneath anyone. You are someone destined to be placed above many. The very thing they misjudged will become the reason they cannot stop watching you. Your clothes were never a mistake. They were never a sign of weakness. They were an armor crafted by destiny to reveal who deserved to stand with you and who didn't. And now, before the next shift arrives, I want you to do one thing. Stay with me. Don't look away. Don't scroll. What comes next is the revelation that your audience must witness with you. Someone in authority is about to step into this story, a figure whose presence will change everything. Their arrival will expose the truth behind the whispers, the secret conversations, the judgment, the assumptions. Every small detail is building toward a moment so powerful that even they won't be able to run from it. There is a reason you're hearing this now. There is a reason the universe chose this moment to uncover what has been hidden. And in just a moment, you will know exactly why your clothes triggered such a reaction, what role you unknowingly played, and how this simple misunderstanding is about to reshape your destiny in a way no one in that room is prepared for. My beloved child, the truth you are about to hear will not just shock you, it will finally make sense of every strange look, every whispered word, every sudden shift in their behavior. The moment you walked away, thinking the scene was over, the real story began, because the people who judged you based on your clothes could not stop talking about you once you left. They thought they were mocking you, but what they didn't realize was that their own fear was starting to show. One person asked, "Why would someone like them dress like that?" Another replied, "Maybe they work here, maybe they're just pretending to belong." And the third, the one who always hides their insecurity behind arrogance, leaned forward and said, "I don't trust it. Something about them doesn't match the clothes. Something feels off." They didn't know how right they were, because nothing about you matches what their small minds can calculate. You are not predictable. You are not definable. You are not someone they can measure. You were sent there to be misunderstood, so the truth could reveal who they really are. What they didn't know is that as they spoke, someone outside the conversation picked up on their tone and reported it. A person you've never met, yet someone whose decisions shape outcomes more than your critics ever could, heard your name. Sometimes people are judged too quickly based on appearances, rumors, social status, or incomplete stories. It happens more often than it should, and it can leave deep emotional scars when others make assumptions without truly understanding who someone is beneath the surface. But there are also moments when the truth slowly begins to reveal itself through consistency, character, and the quiet strength a person carries over time. People who genuinely pay attention often notice qualities that gossip and first impressions fail to capture. They recognize resilience, kindness, intelligence, integrity, or emotional depth that others may have overlooked. When someone with influence, leadership, or authority becomes curious about a person's real story, it can create opportunities for understanding, fairness, and recognition that were previously missing. That curiosity is not necessarily destiny or some hidden cosmic event. Often it is simply the result of someone choosing to look beyond stereotypes and ask deeper questions. In many situations, people who spend too much energy criticizing or underestimating others eventually reveal more about themselves than about the person they targeted. Over time, dishonesty, insecurity, or poor behavior tends to become visible naturally through patterns and actions. Meanwhile, people who stay grounded, focused, and authentic often earn respect quietly, without needing to fight for attention. Sometimes, a single conversation, meeting, or observation can completely change how someone is perceived, because real character has a way of standing out when given the chance to be seen honestly. It is also important to remember that your worth is not determined by the job you have, the clothes you wear, or the opinions others create about you. True value comes from your integrity, your actions, your mindset, and the way you treat people regardless of status or circumstance. Some of the strongest, smartest, and most capable individuals are often underestimated simply because they do not fit someone else's expectations. If your life is entering a season where people are beginning to recognize your qualities more clearly, accept that growth with humility and confidence rather than seeing it as revenge or proof of superiority. Real success is not about watching others fail after misjudging you. It is about finally being seen for who you truly are and continuing to build a life that reflects your potential, your resilience, and the respect you always deserved. You think your story is small, but your energy says otherwise. You think no one saw your worth, but someone important did. You think the clothes made you look less, but they made you stand out more than you will ever realize. They made the powerful curious. They made the insecure uncomfortable. They made the wrong people reveal themselves. And now, every single misjudgment is transforming into an opportunity designed only for you. Something bigger is coming. Something that will connect every dot, every moment, every judgment, every whisper. The universe is moving pieces, aligning paths, lifting veils, and preparing to reveal why you were placed in that room and why those clothes mattered more than you thought. They didn't define you, they distinguished you. My beloved child, the moment you left, the energy in that place did not calm down, it intensified. They thought their whispers had gone unnoticed, but the universe has a way of replaying hidden conversations at the perfect moment. Someone who walked past them overheard enough to sense their intentions, and that tiny fragment of truth grew into a wildfire. Suddenly, the assumptions they made about you didn't feel funny anymore. They felt dangerous, suspicious, and deeply revealing. One of them kept glancing toward the door, worried you might return. Another checked their phone, realizing they had spoken too loudly. And the third, the one who started the rumor about your clothes, began to panic internally because something about the situation no longer felt in their control. They judged you, but now they feel judged by something they cannot see. What they don't know is that the person who became curious about you, the one whose opinion actually matters, is not done investigating. A silent evaluation has begun. They want to know why the room shifted when you entered, why people reacted the way they did, why your presence felt like more than it appeared. And now, reports are being compared, words are being analyzed, patterns are being exposed. They are beginning to understand that your clothes didn't define your status, they revealed everyone else's character, and someone influential, someone they fear more than they admit, has decided that the truth must come out. They want to speak with you, not to question you, but to clarify what others have twisted behind your back. This is where fate sharpens, because while they tried to paint you as someone small, someone ordinary, someone beneath them, they forgot one thing. Destiny loves using the underestimated to humble the arrogant. You didn't walk in wearing labels, they did. They wore insecurity, jealousy, superiority. You wore silence, humility, and destiny. And now the story is turning. The people who mocked you are beginning to sense something approaching, something they cannot stop. They are whispering not about you now, but about the consequences creeping toward them. Their fear is growing, because they know they judged the wrong person. Meanwhile, the powerful figure watching your story unfold is preparing a decision that will change your path. They've noticed that you carry a certain calm, a certain dignity, a certain strength that cannot be bought or faked. They're beginning to suspect that you were placed there for a purpose far beyond appearances. They feel as though someone invisible guided you into that room to expose what was hidden. And they're right. Because, child, you were never judged for your clothes. They were judged for their intentions. And now, the truth is about to break open like a sealed envelope finally torn apart. Because what arrives next is the moment your identity shifts from misunderstood to unforgettable. The revelation is closer than they think, and far more powerful than they're prepared to face. My beloved child, the moment the powerful figure decided to look deeper into your story, an unseen current began moving through every corridor, every conversation, every memory connected to that day. They didn't just ask who you were, they asked why you were there in the first place. And the answers they received were not the ones your critics expected. Suddenly, the people who had mocked your clothes could no longer hide behind their laughter. Their voices shook as they tried to justify their assumptions. Sometimes people become uncomfortable when they realize they judged someone too quickly. What may have started as casual gossip, careless assumptions, or quiet criticism can suddenly feel much more serious when others begin questioning the attitudes behind those words. In many situations, the issue is not the clothes someone wore or how quietly they carried themselves, but the biases and insecurities that caused others to misinterpret them in the first place. When someone enters a room with calm confidence and authenticity, it can challenge people who rely on appearances, status, or shallow first impressions to define others. Your presence may have stood out not because of destiny or supernatural energy, but because genuine self-assurance often draws attention naturally. People notice those who remain grounded and composed, even when everyone else seems uncertain or distracted. Over time, those who underestimated you may begin reflecting on their own behavior and realizing how unfair or thoughtless their assumptions were. That realization can create discomfort, embarrassment, or regret, especially if they now understand that they failed to see your character clearly. Meanwhile, others may become genuinely curious about who you are beyond surface impressions. They may want to hear your perspective, because quiet strength often leaves a stronger impact than loud attempts to impress. A person who carries themselves with calmness, resilience, and self-respect can leave people wondering what experiences shaped that kind of presence. But it is important not to frame these moments as fate punishing your critics or mysterious forces exposing them. Human behavior alone is powerful enough to create consequences. Words carry weight, and people often reconsider their actions when they realize their assumptions revealed more about themselves than about the person they judged. If some individuals are now replaying what they said or feeling uneasy about their behavior, that discomfort may simply be the beginning of self-awareness and accountability. Your role is not to become consumed by their guilt or fear, but to continue moving forward with dignity and confidence. The strongest response to being misunderstood is not revenge or proving yourself dramatically. It is remaining true to who you are while allowing your character, actions, and growth to speak more clearly than rumors or assumptions ever could. They feel questioned. They feel the weight of their own actions pressing down on them, and for the first time, they realize you were never the one out of place. They were. Child, something far greater is being prepared behind the scenes. Someone who sees beyond appearances, beyond stories, beyond assumptions, is beginning to uncover your true role. Your clothes didn't make you look small, they made you unforgettable. They made you the spark that revealed what was hiding beneath the surface. They made destiny focus on you. And now, those who laughed at you will soon stand in silence when the truth rises in front of them. Because the next step is not an apology, it is a revelation so powerful that none of them will ever forget the moment they judged you. Stay with me, because the real turning point is about to break open, and everything they assumed about you is about to collapse under the weight of truth. My beloved child, the quiet before the storm is always the most deceptive, and that is exactly what you're standing in now. They think everything has settled, that their whispers have faded, that their assumptions about your clothes have dissolved into the background. But the universe doesn't forget. The walls that witnessed their judgment haven't forgotten, and the person in power who became curious about you, they haven't stopped digging. In fact, their curiosity has transformed into a mission to understand why someone with your presence, your calm strength, your undeniable energy, was misjudged so quickly by people who claimed to know how to read character. What they cannot explain is the strange sense that your appearance was not accidental, it was orchestrated by destiny itself. And now, the deeper they look, the more they uncover threads that lead far beyond what anyone expected. Behind closed doors, something extraordinary just happened. A comparison has been made between their words and your silence, their assumptions and your truth, their fear and your purpose, and the results shook the room. Someone important stood up and asked a question that froze everyone in place. If this person was truly what you claimed, then why does everything about their energy say otherwise? That single question shattered their lives. It tore open the layer of false confidence they tried to hide behind. And just like that, the people who judged you now find themselves being judged for their intentions, their mindset, their failures. They thought they could define you, but now they are being forced to redefine themselves. Meanwhile, your name is glowing in a new space, a space where decisions are made, where futures shift, where destinies are redirected. The powerful figure who is studying your story feels something they can't explain, an unspoken weight around your presence, as if someone unseen is guiding your path, protecting your steps, and ensuring you are put exactly where you need to be. They notice details your critics ignored, the sincerity in your eyes, the steadiness of your breath, the humility in your posture. They saw grace where others saw simplicity. They saw potential where others saw assumptions. And now, they want to know what lies beneath the surface of the person who unintentionally exposed an entire room. Your critics can feel the tension rising. One of them has started avoiding calls. Another is deleting messages, trying to erase their tracks. And the third, the loudest one, the one who mocked your clothes first, they've begun to realize the game is slipping away from them. Their arrogance is cracking. Their voice is trembling. They feel something approaching, something they cannot stop, deny, or outrun, because destiny has turned its face toward them, and what once felt like a joke to them is becoming the moment that teaches them one of the biggest lessons of their life. Child, destiny is not only preparing to lift you, it is preparing to reveal you, a revelation so powerful that their assumptions will collapse like dust. a moment where your true identity, your true purpose, your true potential will shine in a way no one can dim. Your clothes were never the story, they were the trigger, the test, the unveiling. And now, the truth is gathering speed, preparing to break into their world with a force they never expected. Stay with me, because the moment where everything aligns, the moment where you rise, and they realize who you truly are, is closer than you think. My beloved child, the shift that's happening now is no longer silent. It is powerful, unmistakable, and impossible for them to ignore. The people who judged you because of your clothes can feel a pressure building around them, a pressure they don't understand, but can't escape. They sense that something is watching them, evaluating them, mirroring their actions back at them with perfect clarity. They keep glancing at doors, checking reflections, looking over their shoulders as if the truth itself is following them. And it is, because now their assumptions have reached the ears of someone who doesn't tolerate unfairness or shallow judgments. That person has begun piecing together details, your presence, your humility, your quiet strength, and realizing that everything they assumed about you was wrong. You weren't just misunderstood, you were misread by people who lacked the depth to see who was truly standing in front of them. Meanwhile, the powerful figure assessing your story has made a decision that none of them saw coming. Instead of questioning you for what they thought you were, they want to meet you for who you actually are. They want to understand your vision, your journey, the purpose behind the way you move through the world. They've become fascinated by how someone dressed simply could still command an energy so grounded, so centered, so unmistakably significant. This curiosity is no longer casual, it's intentional. They've already started reshaping opinions around you, silently dismantling the false narratives spoken behind your back. Sometimes people reveal more about themselves through the way they judge others than they realize. Quick assumptions based on clothing, appearance, status, or first impressions often say more about a person's mindset and insecurities than about the individual being judged. Over time, those kinds of judgments can create uncomfortable consequences, especially when others begin noticing the unfairness, arrogance, or lack of empathy behind them. People who once spoke confidently while underestimating someone may later feel embarrassed when they realize they misunderstood the situation completely. Some may try to downplay what they said, explain it away as a misunderstanding, or avoid responsibility for the way they treated someone. But growth and accountability often begin when people are forced to reflect honestly on their behavior and recognize the impact their words had on others. At the same time, being underestimated can sometimes become an unexpected advantage. Simplicity, humility, and quiet confidence are often overlooked in a world that tends to value appearances too quickly. Yet those qualities can leave a lasting impression on the people who truly pay attention. Someone with insight or leadership may recognize strength, intelligence, resilience, or authenticity in you long before others do. Real character has a way of standing out over time, especially when it remains calm and grounded under pressure. Your value has never depended on the opinions of people who failed to see you clearly. It comes from your actions, your integrity, your emotional strength, and the way you continue moving forward despite being misunderstood at times. As your life evolves, some people may begin seeing you differently because they are finally looking beyond surface-level assumptions. That shift can feel validating, especially if you spent a long time feeling unseen or underestimated. But true confidence is not built on proving others wrong or watching them regret their behavior. It is built on knowing who you are without needing constant approval or recognition. If opportunities, respect, or admiration begin entering your life more openly, receive them with humility rather than resentment. Let your growth speak louder than revenge ever could. In the end, the most meaningful success is not shocking the people who doubted you. It is becoming someone who remains authentic, grounded, and secure, regardless of how others once judged you.